If I had to pay and travel to attend a WWE Raw show, I would feel absolutely robbed. Fortunately, I only have to waste 3 hours of my night on a Monday, but still, that is 3 hours too many. Welcome back, guys, to your Fog Wrestling review of Monday Night Raw, the go-home show before WrestleMania Backlash. And this was very lackluster. This was not a good show. I mean, it never is a good show. I really can't remember the last time I came on here and said Raw was a good show, but it's certainly not going to be tonight. So, yeah, let's fly through this. I ain't going to waste too much time on it. The Bloodline come out, starting off the show. They get in the ring. Entrance takes forever. Heyman spews some nonsense. It's the same generic stuff. Roman Reigns takes the mic, says, "Acknowledge me," and before he can do anything else, double RKO from behind. Orton and Riddle RKO the Usos. They've got Roman Reigns in the ring, 2-on-1. They don't attack him. They just kind of like corner him. And then the next minute, you hear Drew McIntyre's song. He comes out with his fucking sword. Angela, I hate this whole sword gimmick. It looks retarded. A grown-ass man coming out with a sword that we know that he can never use, or else he'll go to, he'll go to jail for murder. He'll go to prison, but for some reason, he comes out with it all the time. Then he drops it. He gets in the ring. Him and Roman Reigns start brawling in the corner for about 15 seconds. The Usos get back in. They interrupt. They come to the aid of Roman Reigns. And then Randy Orton and Riddle climb back into the ring. And they, help beat down the Usos. And then eventually Drew McIntyre, Riddle and Orton clear the ring. And that is it. That was all we got. So it opened the show, we got a bit of a brawl, and you didn't see these 6 guys throughout the rest of the show. Like, what the fuck? If Roman Reigns is this needle mover, if Roman Reigns is this, massive fucking draw, this star power that WWE, need, the guy that's, taking WWE to new heights, if he's the man, then why are they not using him more? Why is he appearing one? Why is it one and done? Surely this guy should be, filtered throughout the show. I don't fucking get it. They're not on a Brock Lesnar schedule. Why can't these guys appear throughout the show? Why is it one segment and done? I don't get that. It's not like the show is filled with talent and they ain't got enough time. Surely we could have had another segment here tonight. I suggested in the preview, why didn't they do Riddle versus Reigns tonight, considering Riddle's beat both members of the Usos and he could try and, go 3-3 against the big dog, the head of the table, but they didn't do that. The Bloodline got beat down. They didn't even get beat down, right? Okay, they had a bit of a brawl. The Bloodline retreated, and that was it. We didn't see them for the rest of the show. We didn't see Heyman complain about the attack from behind to the officials or nothing like that. Absolutely nothing, guys. So there you go. There's your start of the show. The Bloodline travelled to Raw for Roman Reigns to say, "Acknowledge me," and to throw a couple of punches. What a fucking waste. And this is the build-up going into the WrestleMania Backlash main event. This was it. Seriously. We need more. WWE needs... Fucking hell, you can do better than this. Anybody could do better than this. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we move up. Elias says to the Street Profits... This was earlier in the day. They showed us a pre-taping. He says, "Oh, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Ezekiel." Who cares? Kevin Owens appears, Alpha Academy appears, and they book themselves into a 6-person tag match. We get the 6-person tag match. In the end, Kevin Owens sweeps the leg of Ezekiel. Gable rolls through into a cover, gets the 3 count. Alpha Academy and Kevin Owens win. Throwaway match, jobber match, garbage match. Just didn't feel important. Kevin Owens stormed off. Mad. I would be mad if I was involved in this shit. How can you go from Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania to this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, Kevin Owens wasn't happy. Neither were we. AJ Styles has got an interview backstage. He says that he's got a stipulation added to the match tonight. If he beats Damian Priest can't be there at ringside at WrestleMania Backlash. And he talked a little bit about Edge's ego. I like Styles, but he's not great on the mic, if we're being completely honest. He's not. He's not. Then we move back to another part of the arena backstage. Sonya Deville, I guess she's trying to abuse her powers, as Adam Pearce would call it. Adam Pearce says tonight she hasn't got any powers and that she's a competitor only. He books a 6 women's tag match between Asuka, Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, and Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville doesn't really mind the idea, but she says, I've got an even better idea, let's make it no disqualification. And Adam Pearce is like, no, I told you, you're done. Your powers are out tonight. So there you go. I don't like these two really as the authority figures. I would say not only do I think Sonya Deville is a better authority figure than Adam Pearce, but she's hot as fuck. So she's got that Triple H nose, but she somehow makes it work. So I don't know how she does it, but she somehow makes that big nose look hot. So yeah, no, I'm okay with Sonya Deville, but Adam Pearce, can we get somebody else, please? Bring back Bishop. I'm back and better than ever. That's what we need to hear next week, right? That's what I want to hear on Raw. What I don't want to see on Raw, though, is Veer Mahan, and that's who was in action next. He took on some guy that apparently works in a restaurant in the local city or whatever. Veer Mahan wins. Veer Mahan sucks, so there's no point. I mean, this guy will be gone, right? This guy is going nowhere. Veer Mahan will not be a credible opponent. Veer Mahan will not be a main eventer. He will not be like a dominant heel. This guy's going absolutely nowhere. Enjoy these squash matches while they last. I guarantee in a couple months' time, this guy will be in the 24/7 title division because he's going nowhere. But that's a video for a different day. Veer Mahan, get the hell out of here. Then we move on to Edge. Edge comes out, cuts a promo. It wasn't the greatest. He compares the crowd to lemons and stuff like this. Says the crowd can't look at themselves in the mirror. Just sort of generic stuff here for Edge. Honestly, I'm not really digging this Edge gimmick stable at the moment. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's not great. Edge says everyone despises him, blah, 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 and he says AJ despises him, and he compared AJ to a lemon. Anyway, and then we get the match, AJ versus Damian Priest. I mean, decent match. AJ manages to beat Damian Priest with like a roll-up after that. We have Edge come in. Edge starts beating down AJ. Edge gets a steel chair. Damian Priest has got a steel chair. They're going to do a concerto to the injured arm of AJ, but before they can, Finn Balor's music hits. Finn Balor runs out, and Finn Balor, helps AJ, and they beat up Edge and Damian Priest. Then they retreat, and this just seems a bit out of place here. I mean, this is the week before the pay-per-view. The way they've done this, you could maybe assume we're going to get a tag match between AJ and Balor versus Edge and Priest, but this maybe should have happened last week on Raw. I don't know, the time frame's just kind of off. Unless they're planning on continuing this feud and they're going to do it into the next pay-per-view, then maybe they could have a tag match on next week's Raw, or maybe they're just going to do Balor versus Priest on the pre-show, something like that. I don't know, to be honest. I don't really care. It's mad that AJ and Edge are going into their second match on a consecutive pay-per-view here, and the entire build-up's been horrendous. The build-up for this match going into WrestleMania was crap, and it hasn't got much better, guys. Speaking of not much better, we've got Almost with MVP backstage. Cedric Alexander essentially telling MVP that, they would still all be dominant champs in the Hurt Business if it wasn't for the egos of Lashley and Benjamin. And that, MVP was the guy that glued them all together. Cedric wants to get back with MVP. MVP says that time is done. He's moved on to bigger and better things. Cedric says, we'll keep an eye on my match tonight. I'm taking on Bobby Lashley. MVP says, and now you've got my attention. We'll be watching. Cedric tries to say something else and almost butts in and goes like, leave now. I mean, fucking shit. It's time for you to go. I mean, who cares, really? I mean, it's time for me to turn this channel off. Up next, we have, speaking of turning the channel off, we have Miz TV. Honestly, I think the only thing worse than a contract signing is Miz TV. Miz comes out, his guest is Mustafa Ali, which makes me want to not watch it straight away. Mustafa Ali's coming out and his entrance music cuts off. Miz says this never happens. Production quality on Miz TV is always great. Then Mustafa Ali gets in the ring. Miz says he wants to call him Must. He gives Must a microphone and the microphone's not working. The Miz is like, basically blaming Mustafa Ali because he says like Miz TV's always running smoothly, Miz TV's always great. Then Mustafa Ali comes on, and now it's like, you know, turned into a shambles. I mean, this was a shambles, to be completely honest with you. Then Austin Theory comes out. He says, yeah, he's going to give Mustafa. He says he's going to get Mustafa Ali's win over Miz last week taken away from the record books after he spoke to Vince McMahon. He offers Ali a championship contenders match, but it's not going to be 1-on-1. It's going to be 2-on-1, a handicap match. And then he mentions something about the heat, and Ali replies, if anybody can handle heat, it's me. And he was referencing like the fact that he wanted to leave the company and that he apparently had heat, but nobody in the crowd got this joke. It was fucking dead when he said it, and it wasn't that good. I don't like when they try and, you know, do all this kayfabe shit in their jokes, and I mean, this wasn't any good for Mustafa Ali. So he basically said this, and there was no reaction whatsoever. Nobody's better at dealing with heat than me. So I mean, whatever. In the match, Austin Theory and The Miz win, hardly surprising. At the end, Tommaso Ciampa comes out and attacks Mustafa Ali from behind. Who cares? Then we have Dana Brooke and Reggie. Reggie wants to go on the honeymoon. Dana Brooke says she can't believe that you tried to win the belt off me. R-Truth's there. Tamina's there. Tosawa's there. Nikki Ash comes out of nowhere. She pushes Reggie, R-Truth, Tosawa, and Tamina to the side. So we're supposed to believe that like 5-foot Nikki Ash or 4'11" Nikki Ash can push these 4 people that are all 3 men, and Tamina, who's a big fucking woman. She can just push all 4 of them to the side, and then she like rolls up Dana Brooke, gets the free count, and as soon as she gets the free count, Dana Brooke sits up and starts screaming that she's lost the belt. I mean, why not just kick out instead of fucking screaming when the ref counts 3? Why not kick out before 3? You know, this whole shit's terrible. Then she says to Reggie, if you want to go on our honeymoon, you need to get me a rematch for the title tonight. They have a rematch. Dana Brooke wins in about 2 seconds. Reggie tries to pin Dana Brooke again. Dana Brooke's not happy, and she asks for a divorce. So there you go. Dana Brooke's back at being champion, and she wants a divorce. We had a promo backstage with Becky Lynch and the Irish guy. Wasn't any good. Just Becky Lynch, you know, talking about how she gave the belt to Asuka. Becky Lynch said she delivered on her promise to being a mother, but Asuka didn't deliver on her promise to being a warrior. So, yeah, there you go. Who cares? Up next, Seth freaking Rollins Appreciation Night. Rollins says, last week we celebrated 20 years of Randy Orton. Now Seth Rollins wants to be appreciated. Well, I didn't appreciate this. So, like a few months ago, I legit felt like Seth Rollins was the best thing in WWE. Going into that feud with Roman Reigns, he was fucking shit hot. You know, this guy, I think it was the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, Seth Rollins felt like a massive deal. Seth Rollins felt big. Seth Rollins was big. You know, it was a big, massive deal for Seth Rollins, you know. He felt like a star. He felt like a credible challenge for Roman Reigns as well. Since then, I mean, Seth Rollins has just been completely downhill, losing week after week on the build-up to Mania. Didn't even have a feud or rivalry going into Mania. You know, he loses a cold match to whoever he lost to. Can't remember. Kevin Owens. Then he loses to Cody Rhodes, and it's just garbage, absolute garbage. So yeah, Cody Rhodes came out. But then Seth Rollins says that, you got an ego. Your father had an ego. Your father was never good enough to win the WWE Championship. And he says that as long as I'm here, you'll never be good enough either, which I guess was a pretty good line. They start brawling. Cody Rhodes gets the upper hand, and Seth Rollins leaves. So there you go. That was that. Over and done with. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it wasn't great. It was all right. But nah, I'm not digging Raw tonight. Then we had Bobby Lashley versus Cedric Alexander. Bobby Lashley won. Is anyone fucking surprised here? MVP came out. He was on the top of the ramp, but really, who cares? Seriously, who the fuck cares? It was, boring. I mean, it wasn't great. Whatever. I mean, Lashley versus Cedric Alexander. We knew who was going to win. Then we move on to the main event. But wait, before that, we had R-Truth. Apparently, he's now a marriage counsellor, and he's offering Reggie a divorce. So this R-Truth, R-Truth is a funny guy. He is like a comedian. I'm not doubting that. But the stuff that they have him doing is not fun. It's not funny. It's borderline. It is turn off the TV kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, R-Truth's wasted. They could definitely do better stuff with R-Truth. What they're doing with him kind of fucking sucks. Anyway, up next it was the main event. No, wait, no, it wasn't. I keep trying to move on. I'm trying to finish this show as quick as I can. It wasn't the main event. We had Doudrop, who I thought had died of diabetes, but it turns out she's still alive. She confronts Nikki Ash backstage. She puts her hand on Nikki Ash and says, "Are you ready to stop with this silly stuff?" And Nikki Ash goes, "Yeah." So I'm assuming this could be the end of the whole Nikki Ash ASAH superhero gimmick, and maybe we're going to get a tag team with Doudrop and Nikki Ash, the two Scottish chicks. Who knows? I'm assuming that's what's going to go down. Anyway, main event time. Becky Lynch, Sonya Deville, Rhea Ripley versus Morgan, Asuka, and what's her name? Bianca Belair. Yeah, that's the one. I mean, it was an okay match. Was it main event worthy? I mean, I personally prefer to see men main eventing. I think the biggest star in the company should always be main eventing. But unfortunately, it's very rare that you get the biggest stars, because the biggest star is Brock Lesnar and he doesn't fucking wrestle. So yeah, no, I thought the main event tonight could have easily been Roman Reigns versus Riddle, or Roman Reigns versus Orton, but we didn't get it. I mean, this match that we did get was okay. There's a couple of nice spots. In the end, Liv Morgan defeats Sonya Deville after Sonya Deville was trying to cheat, trying to abuse her power. Referee wasn't having it. Bianca Belair caused a distraction, and that allowed Liv Morgan to hit her finisher on Sonya Deville and win. Then the three faces celebrated in the ring, and that was the end of the Raw, guys. So there you go. That was it. Lackluster. I can't believe this is the last thing before WrestleMania Backlash pay-per-view. So, I mean, it is what it is. Was it a good Raw? No, it wasn't a good Raw, guys. I'm going to give it I'll give it a 1 out of 10. I feel like I'll get a 2 out of 10. I'll get a 2 out of 10, and I feel like I'm being generous with that there. So there you go, guys. 2 out of 10. Let us know what you think down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. But until then, peace.